I'm just setting, and I'm setting up, and I'm setting up. Hello, I see someone just came in. I'm just setting up. I'm just setting up. Say hello. What's up, Brandon? Appreciate you coming in. Go ahead and invite some more people if you could, because I've got some points that I want to make with the grinder today, and kind of want to spread the word. So go ahead. I'm just gonna wait a little bit more while people come in. Trying to fix the tripod. I just got it, and it's very, very finicky. Cheap tripod for today, at least. So hey, Brandon, let's give it a couple more seconds before I get started. Dun dun dun. Dun 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 dun. Welcome, guys. Thank you for coming in. Appreciate you guys coming. I'm just gonna give it a couple more moments. Say hi in the chat. Feel free. I want to go cover some stuff that I think is very important about this particular grinder. That's information not readily available, easily available online when you try to buy it. So you guys hear the humming of the fan? Please let me know. And do you guys hear me well? Oops, I closed out the app by mistake and always puts it on my face. All right, guys. I'm live. Who's online? Sound off in the chat. All right, guys. I guess I'll get started around the 5-minute mark, 5:14. Was making a video on this grinder earlier, and it's still uploading. But I figured I'll go ahead and hit the highlights with the grinder now. So I'm not gonna test it or turn it on. Most of the stuff that I have is at work. But I gotta say, straight out the bat, it's a great grinder. Probably not the best, but it really gets the work done and it makes life a lot easier. But I do have some gripes about this grinder. A couple of things that no one really talks about on any of the review videos is the RPMs in which it goes into, the runtime they specify is kind of interesting. Will Rowe is in the house. Yes, this is the one that I figured you had. And so that's the reason why I want to talk about this one, because of this thing, right? Okay. But anyways, so this grinder is the 2780 TAC 20. Okay? It's a great grinder. I recommend it. Doesn't matter what battery platform you're in. If you want to buy it, it's on sale and it's with a kit, whatever, I don't care. It works really well. So it does come with the thumb switch version, and it also has a paddle switch version. I got the paddle switch version for a couple reasons. For the job that I do, I'm in very uncomfortable positions, which if I had the thumb switch and I happened to slip, I'm screwed. Okay? So just imagine that you're inside a boat, inside a hull, and you're leaning on an incline with dusty surfaces, slippery surfaces, and you're trying to grind in a spot that you would have to reach out to get. Okay? So it's not like most people who, if they're dealing with metal, they'll go ahead and cut the material and they'll cut into it, and they're in a static position. It's rather safe. They can turn the switch on and make the cut. My job's not like other jobs where you could just put it down and grind the concrete or whatever in a flat surface, which you're well planted, and a thumb switch would make more sense. For me, paddle switch makes more sense because a thumb switch. For me, paddle switch makes more sense because a thumb switch is more of a safety hazard for me, especially when I'm grinding for a long period of time, facing up. Okay, under a boat, and where you can get tired or you can get hooked up with a cart on a piece of gravel on the a rock on your rolling cart or whatever, and then all of a sudden you bust your butt on the ground and the grinder's still going. And it's happened to me, and it's not fun. So with the paddle, to me, it makes more sense because, again, I want it so when I release my hand on it, the blade will actually stop. Now, this is not the rapid stop, but because it's more expensive, I just couldn't afford it. I would love to get the rapid stop version because of that safety feature. It doesn't mean that I would depend on it because I'll still be, safety is on the eye of the beer holder. Anyways, so one gripe that I have about this model is something to do with Milwaukee themselves. Their product image on the box for this one has a different mechanism for the guard. Okay? Yeah, and it shakes, and I really don't like it because of the fact that this. I'm gonna put it close to the camera here. But as you pull this up, there's this little lip here, and you're trying to put the guard on, and you try to press down, and it'll get stuck on there, and so you have to move it up and then press it down, or just be conscious that if it doesn't press down, you're like, let me just, especially with gloves, it's a pain. So I really don't like this at all. I wanted to buy it because I saw the other handle on there, and I thought that was going to be a little more solid, less finicky. And when I bought it, the box had the other mechanism for it, but in the box it had this one. So when you say, okay, you research online to find out, hey, is this going to be a different model? And it's not. It's the same model. Okay, it's the same model. You're just going to get a surprise when you open the box. And that's very unfortunate, and I really wish that they would mention that at least in the manual. So I was looking online, and the reason why this bothers me is I never use a guard on it because, like I said, the way that I use it, I'm grinding fiberglass. There's no sparks. It's mainly dust. I'm wearing a face shield that's a pure plastic face shield with a respirator, or another one that's full face shield that has a air-fed air. So the material, if you're cutting straight, it's not going to go towards you, first of all. And I usually don't cut straight in fiberglass. I actually cut backwards. Most people don't like to cut backwards. They say it's cutting this way. To be honest, I don't know which way is the right way. The right way is the one in which I am most comfortable in, and I can control the tool the best. So for me, I don't care if the dust is coming my way. I'm cutting this way because when I cut forward, the tool wants to go away, and I'm already in an uncomfortable position. So talking about the guard, I wanted to buy a shroud for it. And what a shroud is, it's literally just like a cover, like a guard, but it's complete, and it has plastic brushes at the bottom. So when you go on a surface to grind, it'll capture the dust, and it will have a vacuum inlet, usually a 1/4 inch or 1.25 inches, so that you can plug in your vacuum into it, and you don't get as much dust. So that's what I wanted to buy for the last year. The problem was you couldn't use it for the last year that I could find. You couldn't use the shroud with it. And yeah, that's caulking. That's still from yesterday. So, yeah, if you guys weren't here yesterday, I used the M12 caulk gun to give it a try and a little demo for the guys. And I made a big bead and I wiped it off, and instead of waiting for it to dry and just peel it off. And I failed. That's fine. It doesn't matter. This whole table is going to have to get sanded. This is something that I salvaged from a house that we're remodeling. All right. So with that being said, I pulled up the guard, the shroud that goes with it. And the reason why you can't use the other shrouds is because with a universal shroud, it uses 3 clamps and a hose clamp to adjust. So it goes all the way around. Okay? So let's see if you guys can figure out why that doesn't work. Right? Anyways, I'll tell you. So there's 3 clamps, and so they just form this way, right? And then the hose clamp goes all the way around. The problem is, unlike most grinders, this grinder has a dumb notch up here, just so they can put a spring. And this is, how would you say, more narrow. It's narrower than most. So what ends up happening if you use the hose clamp, it does not have a flat surface, and so it falls forward. So if you try it, a universal, it won't work. Just don't buy it. I just dropped like 6 people off of my stream. Will, are you still in here? So you have to buy the correct model. And so what I ended up doing is I pulled up the model number, and I'll see if I can show you guys. Pull it up in the comments, but it'll fit directly on this version. It's a special model, and it's like $70 just for the shroud. And there's a cutting shroud as well that you can use. And wonder if Hey, Wilro, you still online? I think people have dropped off the live a mistake, or when I disconnected or something. Alright, it's just for some, okay. So yeah, I sent you the pictures in the Discord, which shows you the model number. I downloaded a screen capture, but I don't know how to use it yet, so I think I'm using the regular YouTube app right now. But that one will actually work with the mechanism so that when you press down on this, you can change the orientation for like the cutting shroud and use it on there. But the crazy thing about this one is that it's actually very strong, and I've been able to use a 7-inch diamond grinding wheel on it. And it's the surfacing wheel, not the cup style, but a convex type of grinder. Okay. Apparently, Tool Boss is trying to point out some pack-out kits. Am I missing something? If it's like $150, I got to go to Home Depot right now. Someone shoot me a message. but I was able to use a 7-inch grinder on it, and push it down, and it didn't stop. It'll stop once or twice, and it will have troubles starting it. So if you pull on it, it'll feel the load and it'll cut off. But if you pull on it a couple times, usually 2 times, because it's already got some movement, it'll kick. And once it'll kick, you can push down on it and you can grind glass, pretty much for about an hour, about 40 minutes or so, on a 12 amp hour battery. So that's plenty of time, and I can go ahead, and I've got multiple batteries where I can just keep going and keep grinding. And it's weird, I'd rather use the 5-inch grinder compared to the 7-inch grinder, even though it's less safe. But like I said, I'm in a weird job where I would rather take the risk of a bigger disc, getting closer to your hand, than having a big machine, which is going to tire me much more, which exhaustion is less safe, right? You end up, really sore the next day. I'm talking, you're talking hand out, and really going to chemically office so that the resin can impregnate under a level. I just got disconnected again. So, sorry guys about that little technical issue. So where I left off is that I really hate the fact that they don't have on the manual to show. So there's 2 types. And what you want to look forward to is, like, if the shroud is in the image, you want to make sure that it has these notches. I think it's like only 3 notches out of all of these. If it has those clamp style, just don't buy that. If you have this model, buy the other one, the $70 one. That's my biggest gripe with this grinder. You guys have any questions? Any ideas in which, any problems that you guys had with it or anything like that? No. I know I've disconnected like 3 times, so I'm hoping that you guys are still on. But either way, it's, like I said, the 7-inch disc on there, it's beast. I really like it. I wish I could do more things with grinders other than just grinding fiberglass. Because mainly when I cut metal, I use a Sawzall, I use a circular saw, I use a chop saw, or the table saw. Not really the table saw, a radial arm saw, and the bandsaw. So grinding really don't do much with. This is great with a flap disc. It runs much longer with a flap disc. Even servicing metal, which I've had the guys at the other metal shop do. But if you guys get the chance and mess around with it and buy it, just make sure that if you have this one, to get the correct shroud, and that a paddle switch has a purpose for the application, has a purpose. If you're really concerned about safety, or you might be losing a grip on your grinder, paddle switch is where to go. If you don't care about losing the grip and it's just static where you're working and all you're doing is cutting, metal on a fixed position, then paddle switch is going to be, the thumb switch is going to be a much better option. But like I said, I've had this for over a year, and I've been using it in fiberglass dust, which fiberglass dust kills tools. I mean, it burns them up. And we've burned grinders that we've bought within the same time frame as this one, and this one's outlasted them all. And I'm talking DeWalt, I'm talking Ryobi. Those are the main two that I've used in shop, and we've burned two of those. And oh, the other thing that I wanted to note that most other review videos don't do is mention what the RPM is. And so when you're trying to compare this grinder with a corded grinder, you're either in one of two extremes. You've got the models that are 6,000 RPMs, and then it jumps up to 11,000 RPMs. This one is 8,800, I believe, or 8,000 RPMs, 8,500 RPMs. Okay? So it's a little bit slower than the 11,000 RPM grinders. Is that an issue? I don't think so. Sorry for the noise. I don't think so. You'll notice that it'll throw less spark, but it'll cut about the same, you know. But it's a nice little sweet spot when it comes to cutting overall. I really like this one. Guys, I appreciate you guys coming in. I've been disconnecting like crazy, and I only have one person in here, so I don't want to make it longer than what it needs to be. If you guys have any questions, feel free to send me a message. It's just as simple as it can be. It comes with a handle, comes with 2 guards, and the spindle lock nuts and all that kind of stuff, and that's it. All right, see you guys.